Hey there, how's it going? In this Minish Cap tutorial video, we're going to be covering the Boots quest. So, we got quite a few different routes that are all converging at this point of the run, so it doesn't matter if you're doing glitchless, any percent beginner or any percent advanced, you're going to be having to do the Boots quest at some point, and we're going to be covering the entire thing. So, let's just jump straight into this. So, you're going to be starting around here. If you've done any percent or glitchless, you will have just had a cutscene here. If you're doing the any percent advanced routes or intermediate routes, you would have just finished Chrono Clip. And you're pretty much at this point where we left off in the previous videos, is you're going to have read this sign here. The sign's really important. Reading this sign like this sets the flag that lets you go into the shoe shop and begin the Boots quest. If you don't read this sign, you can't continue the Boots quest, so it's very important that you read this sign. Again, if you accidentally break the sign and can't read it, you have to go all the way up here to Castor Wilds. Enter in through here. Seeing this area text is all you need to do to get that flag to set. Once you've done that, you come over to here and push this boulder through, and then roll over to the right here. You need to then slash this bit of tree here and roll a couple more times to the side and go up into town. Now, people who are doing glitchless and any percent beginner, you may see that I've got a green sword right now. I've just used the save state from my any percent advanced route. Don't worry about that. It doesn't matter what sword you've got right here, right this second. It's not a big deal. Right, so once you enter town, all you need to do is roll up a couple of times into the middle of town here. I like to roll over to the left and then roll up twice and then roll left to go into the shoe shop. Whilst you're in town there, you need to watch out for the postman. Now, what just happened here when you entered the shoe shop is that it immediately started playing a cutscene. If you do not get that cutscene, you didn't set the flag to start the quest. You need to go back to Castor Wilds and read. You need to go to Western Woods and read that sign again. You didn't activate the quest. Okay, so you know the quest gets activated because, like, he falls asleep, he falls down on his face, and he knocks the boots down on the floor. So here, all you need to do is you roll left twice. You can just roll, like, you don't need to adjust up or down at all here. You just roll to the left, and, like, Link kind of rolls around the corner of the thing very nicely. If you do two nicely precise timed rolls, you normally end up right below this, and you can just roll up, then hold up to go directly onto the portal. Here you mash R, well, it doesn't matter if you mash. This is the first time that you're shrinking in one of these pots, so now we're going to need to watch the entire cutscene. After this cutscene there's going to be a text box, so you can start holding B buffering for this. I don't have any of my inputs being displayed. Here we go. There you go, so you can see my inputs now. So you just mash through that text box. Make sure you don't mash R when you're mashing, otherwise you'll accidentally grow again, which you don't want to happen. Roll down and roll right and roll up into here. The movement in this room is you roll up, roll left, roll up, and you should land in front of this guy. If you try and go to the other guys, they're either slower or it's a bit awkward, like roll wise, but like if you do this, like it's exact rolls there, and you'll land in front of this guy. And then you talk to him, hold B and mash text, talk to all of them, and then you get the map appear, and then you mash to get to close the map. Now at this point we have activated the next part of the Boots quest, so we're going to leave town out to the right and go over towards Lon Lon. If you are playing on the emulator, or literally any version that isn't the Wii U, we're going to keep on going here. If you're playing on the Wii U, right here, save and quit, because you can save faster on Wii U, so it's going to be faster for you to do a save and quit here. It's going to put you at the very beginning of town again. I'm going to do a save here just so that I can demonstrate what we're going to do for the Wii U section right after I've left town. But for now, I'm going to be doing what everyone else will be doing. So here we're going to leave. You just do the reverse of the movement that we did here. So roll down, roll right, roll down, and then you climb down here. Here we're going to roll left twice and roll up, and then you're going to grow on here. We're going to walk down a little bit and then roll out over to here. And now we're going to exit town out to the right hand side. So we're going to roll like up over to here and roll to the right. And keep rolling over to here and exit town through this point here. Now, what do you do if you're on Wii U? What you would do is you would do the save and then you would reset. And then you would mash through the title screen and get into town. Now we're going to do slightly different movement here to get over to that exit over here. We're going to roll over to the right here and go in between these houses here, up through there. Try and avoid talking to that guy there and then roll right here. And it will get you to this spot here. That movement is faster doing it as a save and quit and going out through there if you're playing on Wii U. But for other versions, just exit out normally and regrow. Okay, so when you're here, if people doing glitchless, you want to make sure you don't do a roll lift here, so you're going to pick up and throw a bomb like so, and it's going to explode. People who are doing any percent, you are allowed to do roll lifts, so I recommend trying to do a roll lift here. There you go. Nice shell drops. But yeah, you roll over to the right, down a couple times, and roll up through here. You're going to roll up through Lon Lon, and the aim here is to shrink on this the logs there. Now, important to note here, if this guy is not here, if he's not there, you didn't activate the boots quest, and you need to go back to the shoe shop and go and talk to the Minish. You didn't talk to the Minish. Why they're here. If Malon is just like stood here and yeah, this guy isn't here, then that's the reason. You didn't activate the boots quest. Go back over there and activate it. Okay, so we're going to roll up over to this stump and shrink. We're going to roll to the left down a bunch of times, roll to the right, and then here we're going to grow inside of the house. So here we roll right twice and roll up, and then we throw the pot, and then we pick up the key, and then we pick and then we roll over. We throw the pot to the left as we like roll towards it, so that like we're picking up as we're going back to shrink again. When we shrink, we hold down right, and then we just exit the house. You roll left, roll up twice, roll right. You know, it's just simple movement here. Roll left, roll down, roll right, talk to this guy. I'm being a bit vague on this movement here, it's not super precise. You just mash through this text a little bit here. Like roll right, you don't have to roll right there. Now people who are doing any percent beginner and on glitchless, Malon's not going to be here. This is just an artifact of me playing on the save state that the advanced route does and the intermediate route. So yeah, just people doing intermediate and advanced, make sure you don't talk to Malon. You can accidentally talk to her if you're like holding upright and like trying to roll quickly or something like that. We're going to roll right and roll down. Here we roll right. I like to roll right twice and go up here and then to the right over here, up here, left here. So when you were exiting town, you was going to do a menu, which I forgot to mention, because I already had bombs equipped for some reason. You weren't supposed to have bombs equipped. You wouldn't have bombs equipped, and you would equip bombs and cane at that point there. So right at the beginning of Lon Lon, like when you're exiting town and you're locked in, like you exit town, there's those explodable blocks there that are in the way. You would equip bombs and cane, and then you would keep this menu all the way through this section here. So we're going to use the cane on this hole here and spring up to here, and we're going to roll over to the right here and then go down through this tornado. So the tornadoes, you move a lot slower if you try and do diagonal movement on them. So you want to go in a completely straight line and try and minimize any sideways movement at all. Do any sideways movement when you're not gliding. Yeah, so we glide over to the other side of like Lon, and then we like go through the screen transitions here, and we're just making our way to the mushroom to continue the boots quest here. So we're going to roll up through here. Now, if you have got to this point and you cannot afford to buy this mushroom, you should be at least, at the very minimum amount of rupees you should have here is 71. If you don't have 71, pretty screwed. You skipped important stuff earlier on in the run. If you are on 50, if you're on roughly 50 rupees, or just over 50 rupees, you missed the red rupee on Mount Krenel on the way to Cave of Flames. Go back and have a look at the video on Cave of Mount Krenel, Overworld 2 on the way to Cave of Flames. After you do the grip rings section with a bunch of block pushes, there is a pot that has a red rupee in it. You have to get that. It's part of the route. It's very important you get it. You're on 50 rupees here. You didn't get that one. If you're on just over 20 rupees, you didn't get the chest in Cave of Flames. There is a chest that you need to knock a rollerby into a hole that is right in front of this chest. You open the chest. It's a big green rupee. It's 50 rupees. That should put you up onto just over 70 rupees from 20. Yeah. So that's how you troubleshoot if you don't have the right number of rupees here. They're the two things that you missed out on. Okay. So we need to pay this. This is exactly 60 rupees that we're going to spend here. Why do we not figure out a different route that, instead of having 13 or like 11 extra rupees here, people are doing any percent, you're going to be doing an RNG manipulation in the swamp. That RNG manipulation only works if you have at the very least 11 rupees. You need 11 or more rupees to be able to do this RNG manipulation, so it's very important for you to get the rupees in the places that we've designed in the route, so that works out. You're doing glitchless, it doesn't really matter, but it just happens to be kind of the fastest way to do it anyway, is just follow what we're doing it in any percent. You're not going to be saving that much time if we try and figure out some faster way of doing it or whatever. So that's it for money now. We don't need to worry about money for the rest of the run. Glitchless and any percent. That's it for money. Don't pick up any you find from this point on. You're not going to need it. Okay, so now we've got the mushroom, we're going to go back to hand it in and get the boots. So don't pick up that sign, roll down, roll left a couple of times. I used a cane here to knock that bush over and then hop down. Saves a little bit, it's a little shortcut you can do there. Roll to the left. I'm going to roll over here and push this boulder through. Even though we're not going to use that shortcut anytime again in the run, it's still faster to just push that boulder through instead of like going up and trying to jump over the holes or off the ledges or whatever. Alright, so we enter town. Now, very important, people who are playing on the any percent intermediate or advanced route, you have not activated this wind crest yet. People who are doing any percent beginner and any percent and glitchless, you should have probably already activated this wind crest. If you haven't done so already, this is your last chance. Activate this wind crest. I always remember to do it here as you're coming back to upgrade your boots. So you're going to roll over to here and you're going to go back over to the shoe shop. Here you walk to the left into the Aslo trigger. Do not roll here because you'll roll into the Aslo trigger and it's slow. Then you roll to the left here without going up or down, and then you'll position directly in front of then you just hold up and press R, and then you start mashing through this text here. And then you're going to get the boots here. Okay, so people who are playing on the intermediate route, you're going to go up and activate the red sword at this point. So what you would menu here is you would menu the sword and the boots. People who are also doing the any percent beginner route, and if you're doing glitchless, here you would also equip sword and boots. If you are doing any percent advanced route, don't equip the sword, equip the gust jar, because the next section you don't need to use the sword right away. The next thing you're going to be using is the gust jar. So yep, so people who are doing intermediate route, you would roll over to here, and then you would dash up, and you would go up to town. You basically, I'm not going to go through it, but you would dash up to town, and you would go through the castle. You'd go straight up into the castle, go down the stairs. If you're doing intermediate route, you should know a little bit of the beginner route, so you should know your way through the castle. So what you do is you would get the red sword. Once you got the red sword, you would come back down. You would have to do the moblin fight. You get the moblin fight done, and you dash back down through town, and you return back to here and rejoin what everyone else is doing. So what everyone else is doing is you're dashing down here. You're gonna go. We're basically going to go to swamp now. So you'd roll down here, dash over to the left. Now. One of the things with the boots, screen transitions. If you're screen transitioning while doing a boot dash, if you don't press anything, you keep dashing as you go through the screen transition. If you press in the direction that you're going as you hit the screen transition, you still screen transition. If you hit a different direction, if you hit a direction like perpendicular to the direction that you're going in, you're gonna bonk. Like that. However, so you can't drift while going to a screen transition. However, you can press diagonal, so you can drift diagonally like so, and you'll screen transition. No, when you're doing this diagonal, holding diagonal to do a screen transition, you can only do that on one screen transition. The next screen transition you try and go through in that same boot dash while holding diagonal, you'll bonk. So like I can demonstrate it here by like holding diagonal here. So you've done a diagonal to do a screen transition once already. So when I get over to here and I hold diagonal, I bonk. That's just a demonstration of what happens there. So if you're finding that you're bonking as you're going through a screen transition, whilst you're holding diagonal, well, if you weren't holding diagonal, then you should hold diagonal to make it safe when you're doing so. If you were holding diagonal, it's probably because this is the second transition in a single dash that you know, and it causes the bonk. Okay, so everyone should also check what the health is right now. The health what I'm on right now is kind of okay. If you're any lower than this, you want to pay attention to like how much health you've got. And this tree here has a fairy in it. It has a 15 and 16 chance of dropping a fairy. So it's an extremely unlikely event that you don't get a fairy drop from this. So this tree's a bit weird. You can either bonk into it from like right here, or you can actually bonk this back wall here, and it will drop a... Okay, it dropped a kinstone just to perfectly like demonstrate why like there is a 1 in 16 chance that this will drop a kinstone instead of a fairy. There's a 15 and 16 chance that it will drop a fairy. So if you need health, you can bonk into this tree here to get more health. People doing any percent, you will have a fairy in a bottle at this point. If you're doing glitchless, you will have an empty bottle Do not bottle this of this fairy here if you're doing glitchless, because you're going to dump it in literally 1 minute's time. When you go into the swamp, you're going to pick up some water. So yeah, don't bother bottling any fairies here if you're in glitchless. If you're in any percent, you should have a fairy. If you don't have a fairy, you forgot to get one before the Glee Rock fight. So here might be a good point to do it. I wouldn't suggest doing it like here, but we can go through the backup for where to get your backup fairy in case you need it at a later point. But what we're doing here to finish off this video is we're dashing all the way over to here. We're dashing up to the swamp. Now, importantly with the swamp, you want to make sure that you do, the point that the height that Link is at when he screen transitions into the swamp for the very first time is very important. You want to be as low as possible on the bridge when you do so. That's going to mean that every time you load back into you save and quit and you come back to this exact point in swamp. So we're going to be doing some RNG manipulations for people in any percent. That are very precise and requires muscle memory, and that is all dependent on where your start position is. If you're up here whilst you're trying to do the manipulation, it's going to make it a lot harder than if you're down here. So make sure that when you screen transition into the swamp, you're doing it at the very bottom. But yeah, that's it. That's going to be it for me. I'm going to do the next part, the swamp, in different parts, because all of the different routes are going to do completely different things here. As I said, any percent's going to be doing some RNG manipulations, and like if you're doing beginners, we're going to do some like easy stuff. If you're doing advanced and intermediate, you're doing p-hack clip, so you're going to be saving a lot of time, but it's a difficult glitch. Check out the video on that. If you're doing glitchless, it's not too complicated what we're doing. We're just going to be doing a fast intentional playthrough of this one. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and see you later.